I'm trying something out new with this new blue light here in the background. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you like it? Yes? No? I think I like it. I don't know. I think it just adds like a little bit more. I kind of feel like that corner was kind of boring. I don't know. What do you think? Do you guys like it? Do you not? Let me know. Yes, no in the comments down below. Today we are talking about Fundrise versus my actual physical rental property with the actual numbers and the earnings from each. I've been using Fundrise for just over a year now. And funny enough, I've been investing in physical real estate in rental properties for about the same amount of time as well. Last year alone, in 2019, we purchased 12 cash flowing rental properties in that full 12 months. And if you haven't seen that video already and you're curious to see that, I'll link it down in the description below to see how we did that. But as I was reflecting on last year, obviously I'm a big numbers guy. And so as I was thinking about everything we were able to do and accomplish, I was also thinking about the returns that we made last year as well. After figuring out all the numbers, all the returns on all of our different rental properties, I paused and I thought to myself after making the last two videos, and I wondered to myself, I wonder how we did compared to Fundrise. And so that's where the idea for this video came from. We're gonna compare the numbers and the returns that we made from Fundrise and the numbers and returns that we made from our personal physical real estate. If you're new to the channel, welcome, thanks for being here. Let me introduce myself. I'm Bryce. Here on the channel, we talk about everything real estate, personal finance, investing, business, wealth, money, you name it. If it has numbers and money, chances are we're gonna talk about it. If videos just like these interest you, if you like learning about money and real estate and wealth, then for sure give us a thumbs up so that we can keep making these videos. Currently, we own 2 single-family homes and 2 fourplexes. Now, if you're quick on your feet, you're quick with your math, and you just did that in your head, you'll realize that that comes out to 10 units and not 12 like I mentioned earlier. The reason for that is because we did actually purchase 12 units this last year, but we actually decided to sell one of our duplexes to be able to help us move forward and grow even faster. And the goal this year is to try and do double that amount. We want to double the number of units that we did last year alone. With the 2 single family homes that we own, as well as the 2 fourplexes, I wanted to take the worst performing property that we own and compare it to Fundrise. The reason that I want to compare Fundrise to our worst performing property is because that kind of sets like a benchmark, like a baseline. I'll know that if I compare that property to Fundrise, I'll know that all of our other properties are doing better than that. And that just kind of gives us a good comparison to see how Fundrise is doing compared to all of our other units. And let me just put a disclaimer out there and say that all of our units perform very well. I didn't mean to imply that our worst performing rental property didn't perform very well. It's just that relative to all the other ones, it's making the least amount of money. It should go without saying, but we don't buy properties that don't perform well. I know I don't look the smartest, but I don't spend money on things that don't make money. Okay, so jumping right into it, first and foremost, the least performing property was this fourplex that we purchased last year. Last year, this property made us a net profit of $13,680. Now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, you're like, shoot, that's a good amount of money. And it is. We're very happy with the returns that made. But like I said, this is the least performing property that we own. All of our other properties made at least that much, if not more. I mean, trust me, we're not complaining. We're very happy with the amount of money that our rentals are making for us. To make this a true apples to apples comparison, we can't just take that number, that $13,000, and compare it to Fundrise, because that's not fair. That's not really how you can compare 2 separate investments. To be able to make it a fair comparison, we have to take that $13,000 and convert it to a percentage. For this comparison, we're gonna use something called cash on cash return, which is typically the metric that I use when I compare like-kind investments, see how they compare. If you're not sure what that is, I'll link a video down in the description below where I explain what cash on cash return is and how easy it is to calculate. Anyway, short and sweet, a lot of people just call it cash return. Essentially, this is the amount of money that you make back compared to the amount of money that you initially invested. If you're familiar with any of my videos and you already watched that video, you'll know that we purchased this property, this fourplex, last year kind of towards the end of the year. The total amount of money that we had to put down to purchase this fourplex was $42,483. That means if we take our $13,680 and divide it by $42,400, we get a cash-on-cash return of 32.2%. Okay, so just so you're aware, we use two main metrics to figure out how profitable a specific property is. We use cash-on-cash return, which I just talked about, and another one called IRR, which is the internal rate of return. Like I said before, cash on cash is the amount of money you make back compared to what you initially invested. IRR, or the internal rate of return, is the total return on the investment, including cash on cash return, cash flow, principal pay down, the equity that you make, the appreciation, all of these different things wrapped into one giant bundle to figure out what your total return is. Now, because Fundrise doesn't offer these other benefits, they don't give you cash flow, you don't get principal pay down, it's not really a fair comparison, and so that's why we can't use the IRR. So for this comparison, we're going to use only cash on cash return. Okay, so 32% return on our cash on cash, and that is very good. I am not complaining about that whatsoever. Again, I shouldn't have to reiterate this, but we don't buy properties that don't make money. That just doesn't make sense. But our least performant property is making 32% returns. That means all our other ones are making significantly higher than that, or at least on that same level. There are a couple different reasons and factors why that number is so high, but one of the main things, and really this could be an entirely different video in and of itself, one of the main reasons that allow us to get such high returns is we don't use property managers. Maybe at some future date we will, but right now we feel like it's really not that difficult to self-manage, and we can save that extra 10% as cash in our pockets. Okay, now obviously to make a good comparison, we have to know what the returns are from Fundrise. Luckily for you, I already created that video, and if you haven't watched it, I recommend that you go watch that video from last week. Link in the description below. But the TLDR version of that video is at the end of 1 year, we made 7.9% return from Fundrise. So that's not too bad, right? But to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed by that number when I first calculated that out. Fundrise, at least on their website, they boast 8% to 12% returns. And while we were super close to that, like 0.01% away from hitting that 8% mark, I was just a little sad that I wasn't right in between that range that they said that we would make over the course of a year. I mean, obviously because you make more money, but just that 8 looks a lot cooler than 7. Hey Bryce, you want to hear a joke? Sure, Bryce, let's hear it. Why is 6 afraid of 7? I don't know. Because 7, 8, 9. You come here for the jokes, right? It's fine, I get it. I mean, I'm hilarious. Okay, so 7.9% or 32%. I mean, you tell me, which it's kind of a no-brainer, right? Obviously that's a no-brainer. We would 100 times over take the 32% over the 7.9%. Our physical rental property from just cash on cash alone netted us 4 times what we made with Fundrise over the course of 1 year. While that is the case, and I will hands down always take the 32% over the 7.9%, there is something to say about Fundrise. And the fact is, Fundrise is 100% passive. I mean, really, truly, I put in $1,000 last year, didn't touch it, not even once. I mean, I maybe logged in 5 or 6 times into the Fundrise website just to check it out, see how it was performing, but there was no rebalancing, there was no work whatsoever that had to be done to earn that income. Whereas with the rental property, with the 32%, I would still say that it was mostly passive, but there's still work involved. We had to deal with the bank when we were buying it. We have to find tenants, deal with maintenance requests, all those things, that come with rental properties. Even having said that though, I would still take the 32%. Absolutely, there's more involved with managing a property by yourself, but the 32% also compensates us for that work, and so In this comparison, the rental property wins hands down. So you tell me how your results from Fundrise compare to your physical real estate. I'm really curious to hear from you guys and hear how your returns are looking. The next video that you should watch is this one, which I link right here. It came out last week, but it talks about my experience using Fundrise over the course of 1 year. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.